All of a sudden, you look at the corner of your phone and regret takes over you. You realize that it's 8 p.m. and you've wasted one more day. You were gonna do so much. You had the whole day ahead of you. You were gonna work out, write, paint, start that project you never do, and all of a sudden, the day's over. And now, you've done none of it. What happened? We all have 24 hours, so why do yours never feel enough? Don't worry, in today's video we're gonna look at exactly why this happens, why most people, maybe you included, never seem to have enough time. It feels like the days are always cut short, either because you wasted time, because there was too much to do. Regardless, we're gonna look at why this happens first of all, and then most importantly, secondly after that, how to actually fix it, how to actually make sure that your time is enough for all that you want to do, all that you want to achieve, and essentially to allow you to put your life on the track that you want. Now, before we get into that, just want to let you know that we have 20 free wallpapers. If you want to claim those, just go to the link below and you'll get those sent straight to you. Originally, I wasn't going to do a video about this, but I was browsing just YouTube, just the internet, really kind of looking for an idea for a video, and then I came across minimalism. So I saw a few videos, Matt D'Avella, other creators, and then I realized I don't really know what this word means. So went to Google, typed what is minimalism, what does minimalism mean? Now this may not be like the dictionary definition, but I quite enjoyed how they put it. When you live as a minimalist, you strive to only use things that serve a purpose. And I found this so interesting because obviously in the minimalist sense of the more direct of the word, these are usually people that kind of sell everything that's not necessary and then only buy or only have things that, you know, as the description says, are really necessary. So maybe you only have a fork, a knife, and a spoon, you have one plate, you have, I don't know, one coffee maker, one set of clothes. In the most extreme, that would be what it is to be a minimalist. But looking at this description, I think it becomes so much more interesting when you don't apply it to what you own, but to the way you act. Instead of being things here that we're using in the definition, you just put do, or just put habits, put actions there. Because if you strive to only do that which serves a purpose, that which is actually important, you will pretty much always have time. All the struggles that you have right now where you reach the end of the day and it never seems like there's enough time, it always seems like you wanted to do more than what you did. My argument here, what I would argue here is that it is not that there's not enough time. After all, we all have the 24 hours, or everyone has the same 24 hours, maybe 16 when you're awake. And if you look at people that really perform and really progress, it's not because they have more time. And sure, you can find certain excuses. You can say, yeah, but they started here, they had more money, they had more this, more that. And yeah, maybe that helped them progress, or that helped them start ahead of you. But that doesn't mean you can't get those things and then be at the same point and then progress from there. The main problem then is not that you don't have enough time. It's not that there's a lack of time. It's that you don't use it as well as you should. Now, if you do the following, if you go to your schedule, or if you try to remember yesterday or one of the days of this week, what you'll realize is that likely, first of all, there was a lot of things that you wanted to do, maybe more than would even be realistic for the most productive of people. Maybe you have your work, you have the things that you have to do, but then after, maybe you have, you'd like to go work out for 2 hours, then study for 2 hours, then, track all your calories, do all these things. And if you look at it, perhaps there's not even enough time for all of this. And now maybe you ask me, but you said there would be enough time if I was productive. No, there would be enough time if you remove what doesn't matter. Because if you look at your schedule and it's very cluttered, then you don't understand what is truly important. So it's not even prioritized. It's just a bunch of scattered activities and habits to do. What's gonna happen is that when you even think of beginning doing something, you're gonna be overwhelmed. You're gonna feel anxiety. You're gonna feel like you just want to go and take a nap because you don't understand what's truly important. There's too much to do. Likely it's too vague. So if you just say, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna do this, you don't even know what that entails, for how long, what specifically about. And because of that, you will end up, even though you had so much planned, you'll end up doing less than if you had fewer things planned. I would associate this, or I would use the example of a ship that's stuck in the middle of the sea and has no sail and no motor. So you're just, going with the waves. In this case, the waves of emotion. You feel a bit of motivation, you start doing it. But then it goes away, you stop doing it. Then comes again, and it's just not reliable. And if you act like that, if you live like that, no progress can be achieved. Because to, again, achieve any sort of long-term progress, you need to have long-term consistency with the things that matter. And then the other problem is not that you likely are not aware of this, maybe you've become aware of this. But then a lot of people, when they do, their solution or what they try to do is to add more stuff. A new app to track everything, a new method to organize it, adding stuff. And the problem here is that there's already too much. The critical realization that you have to come to is that you don't need to add more. What you need to do is to remove, and then you need to prioritize. Because as we were talking before, if you look at everything that you say you want to do, even if you were to do all of them with perfection, super productive, super consistently, you'd soon realize that a lot of them wouldn't even give you that many benefits. A lot of them are just noise, and even if they would give you benefits, it would be to pursuits that are not really that important to you. You'll realize that there's a select few habits that, if done consistently and well over a long period of time, are gonna give you the results that you want. And then you'll also realize that everything else is just noise. And what is noise must be cut out. So how do you solve this? Because I don't want to just bring you here problems and awareness of the problem and then just leave you feeling bad and that's it. It begins with awareness, of course, but then what do you do about it? Now, what I suggest is always stripping everything down until you have just the foundation, or at least an understanding of the foundation that you want to build. So I'm going to give you what I would say the easiest example to understand. So you're going to the gym, you want to build more muscle. The core foundation of this would be consistently working out, consistently eating in a caloric surplus that is not too much, and then the tracking and improving upon all of this. So tracking your calories and seeing what needs to be improved, tracking the workouts and seeing how can you improve, the progressive overload sort of thing. And then potentially as well, making sure that your rest is on point, that you're sleeping enough, maybe you're stretching enough, all these things. But that would be like 4-5 habits. And if you were to do these 4 to 5 habits over a long period of time, the actual doing of it and then improving upon what you're doing, you'd get all the results you want. And a lot of times this is how we begin. We begin with the foundation, but then it's easy to get distracted. And then you all of a sudden spend all your time researching the best supplements. And then you start researching all these new workout methods that may or may not work. And then you start just going in so many different directions and you forget that all these things that you're having have the foundation to support them. And if you add too much to a foundation that's not well built, it will eventually collapse. For any pursuit you have, any goal you have, the first thing is understanding where you're trying to go and then reverse engineering your way from there to where you are right now. Understand what are the key habits to get you there. Now, if you know nothing about it, it's too much to dive into one video, but go ask an expert, go ask, the personal trainer that is good, the guy in business that understands about it, whatever the pursuit, go to the expert to understand what is the foundation, the foundational habits, the things that you have to do to actually give you the most of the results. Now, once you have those, first of all, stay there. Don't start adding anything else right away. You just removed all the trash. You don't need to add it once again. So what I suggest is once you have the foundation, the 4 to 5 to 6 main habits, at least for a month, stick only with those. Become 100% consistent. And I mean that. I don't mean 95, 90. Really work to, for one full month, be 100% consistent. What you'll realize that if you only do those, you're gonna have so much more time right away. You're gonna notice that a lot of what you were doing, a lot of these things that you were stacking on your schedule did not really matter. Now, this will be harder than you think, because even if you're doing less, first of all, sometimes what we think is easier, which is being consistent, can be the hardest, actually. And then second of all, you'll be tempted to do more, to add new things, to really bring all the previous trash back into your schedule. Now, I know that just telling you, oh, don't listen to that, just put it aside, it can be quite hard. The temptation is often very tempting. So what I suggest is buy a journal or just have a random sheet of paper where you'll write all of these ideas that come to mind. Like, oh, I should implement this new workout plan, these new supplements, all these new things that are not essential, that may give you an edge, but are not essential. And you'll write all of those in this paper, but you won't act on it. And then at the end of every week, or maybe in this case at the end of the month, you look at all of those, and first of all, you realize that most of them you don't even want to do anymore. They're just a fad, or you were kind of excited in the moment, but once that excitement passed, they're not that useful. And then now, kind of, waiting a few days, a few weeks, you can look at it and really understand that first of all, most of it you don't even want to do. And then second of all, maybe you'll find some gold nuggets there, something that you should actually do that are very good that you start implementing. In this case, however, I suggest, again, 1 month at least full consistency with the core habits. Then after that, go ahead and start implementing some things, but never forget that the core of it, these main habits, are the foundation that allow for everything else to stand on. If you start stacking too many things, if it's too much weight for your foundation, it will be a matter of time until the pressure builds up to a point where the foundation just cracks. Every structure has its breaking point, and yours is no different. So if you begin noticing some cracks, you become a bit less consistent, you regularly have less energy, less focus, what you have to realize is that likely you just put too much on your plate. And instead of just trying to push and keep going and saying to yourself, no, I'm just gonna grind through this, what you likely have to do is slow down a little bit on what is not essential, so that you can make sure the foundation is strong, that you're fully consistent with the things that really matter. Once you get that back in order, then you can go and push yourself a little bit more. Essentially what you're doing is progressively overloading yourself and strengthening the foundation in the process of it. Now, if you keep doing this, if first of all you go ahead and you remove all that is not necessary, you get to the core of the foundation, you understand the priorities, the order in which you should be doing these things, you build the consistency with it, and then and only then will you start looking to add some of these other non-essentials, but that may give you an edge. You'll make first of all, you make infinitely more progress than if you're just focusing on random bullshit and things that seem exciting but are just that, really. And then second of all, maybe the most important, the point of the whole video is that you'll be finding so much more time that you thought you didn't have. Because once you cut out all of this and you're left with the essential, a lot of times the main problem then becomes, what do I do with the time that I now have? How do I actually use it in the best way possible? But that's for another video. For now, stick with this, and I'll see you on the next one.